Hey, it's Lauren here. Today I'm going to read from my book, Daily Rituals for Happiness. I'm going to read to you some of the introduction. It requires not a small amount of courage to read this to you. This is a book about my life, my childhood, and how I learned to be happy every day. This is not a book full of miracles and easy solutions. This is a book full of some pain, a lot of experience, and a lot of learnings. So, as I love to say, and I know that you enjoy hearing, sit down or lie down comfortably and we will begin. This is from the introduction, and the title is Discovering the Keys to Happiness. I am sitting on the couch with my children all around me. They are dancing and singing and smiling. There are dress-ups, imaginary props, and masks. Several interactions are happening simultaneously. My two boys are squashed together on a computer chair, singing off-key and a little too loudly. My younger daughter is holding up one hand, deftly videoing herself as she pretends to be a princess. My older daughter is seated beside me, her legs drawn up underneath her, and a Mona Lisa smile on her face. She leans over, kisses my cheek, and whispers, "We don't need anyone or anything. We are happy just as we are, Mum." I feel tears in my eyes. The last several years have at times been really hard. My marriage has ended, and I've lost my home, my business, and my beautiful, beautiful yoga studio. And with these losses went many of my traditions and my familiar comforts. My core beliefs about who I was and how my world should be have been shattered, and I felt lonely, empty, and sometimes like a complete failure. Yet, here I am, sitting on the couch, surrounded by laughter, and yes, feeling happy. In times to come, I know I will not remember the bills that need to be paid, nor the occasions when I've depended upon donations of food. I will forget that I could not afford to buy my daughter a pair of school shoes, and the days when our meals have been purchased with, yes, loose change. But I will always remember the glorious mayhem of our family happiness at this moment. And yes, I am happy. And you can be too. Are you feeling stressed, disillusioned, or even a little lost? Are you sad or angry or discouraged? Maybe your life has not worked out like you planned, or you've reached a crossroad and you don't know what to do next. You could be tired, confused, or just plain overwhelmed. And it's possible that the thing you are thinking right now is, "You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. How can you help me learn to feel happy?" Well, let me assure you, my friends, I do know how you feel. I really do know. I have been there too. When my marriage ended, I couldn't imagine ever feeling really happy again. And to be honest, I resented being told by people, "Cheer up, just Cheer up. Cheer up, why don't you? I mean, what would they know? They weren't me. If you were thinking the same thing about me now, then I want to tell you this. My path back to happiness was not an easy one, but rather a process which I learned over time. As much as I longed to discover some quick fix solution to find happiness and live without emotional pain, it just did not happen for me that way. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is not how it will work for you either. And that is not what this book is about. Instead, I want to take you through a process that will help you focus on finding and feeling happiness in the moment. It will encourage you to notice the happiness that is already around you. It will encourage you to notice the happiness that is already around you and within you. And it will support you in becoming more self-aware and more self-accepting. Your experience will be different to mine, but I have seen how well this process works. Does this sound like something you'd like to try? I do hope so, because I really believe it can make a huge difference to you. Where it began. I'm Lauren, by the way, and I'm really glad you are reading this book. It means that you're willing to make changes in your life to become a happier person, and that is a wonderful thing. It's not an easy journey that you're embarking upon, but I want to assure you that you are not alone. You're not alone. I will be with you, supporting you and cheering for you all the way. You already know that I'm a single mum to 4 young children, including identical twin boys. I'm also a counsellor, a meditation teacher, and personal trainer. I have a popular YouTube channel called Lauren Ostrowski-Fenton and a podcast called Being Well with Lauren. As you can probably already tell, I'm passionate about well-being. I've written this book to share with you the story of how I found happiness through the practice of certain rituals. I call these rituals my daily happiness practice. This has been so life-changing for me. I really want to guide you through the process of developing your own daily rituals for happiness. I learned a lot about rituals through studying anthropology at university, but my fascination with them began long before that. It has a lot to do with the way I was brought up, with what I learned from my parents. One of my standout childhood memories is of a family shopping trip to a local supermarket. As we wandered through the shop, loading groceries into our trolley, as children do, I recall my father cupping his hands to his mouth and calling out, "I love you," at the top of his voice. "I love you," he called out to my mother, who was in the next aisle. Believe me when I tell you that this is not the way most Australians behave in public, let alone in supermarkets. Yet, I don't remember feeling embarrassed or self-conscious at the time. For me, such demonstrations of love from my father to my mother was simply part of ordinary life. I grew up in outer Melbourne in Australia, the eldest of 6 children. My father was a self-made Polish immigrant, and my mother was an educated, hard-working Australian. Both were practicing Catholics. And as my father's behaviour in the supermarket shows, they were very much in love. Our family life was peppered with happy rituals, laughter, and togetherness. From our traditional Polish Christmas to Dad reciting with me my maths times table on the way to school each day. I remember with special fondness our family outings to the Polish bakery in Ackland Street, St Kilda. Dad, who had never been one for moderation, would buy cardboard boxes simply bursting with cakes and donuts, and we would feast upon them, sitting around the table together. Years later, my sister nostalgically referred to these joyous feasts as the family pig-outs. There was something about Mum's ritual chastising of my father's extravagance, shaking her head and whispering in Polish, "Nie tak dużo," not so much in English, which contributed to my sense of comfort and predictability. My mother learned to speak Polish fluently. She would cook traditional Polish meals and follow various Polish cultural rituals out of her love for my father. These rituals became the backbone of our happy family life. Sometimes I felt that as long as we could continue to come together to celebrate, laugh and converse through rituals, we would have the resilience to cope with life's hardships and enjoy life's celebrations. In many ways, rituals like the ones I grew up with help make our lives flow more easily. They can support our well-being and our sense of self, and they can create a feeling of belonging to family or a community. The anthropologist Bronislaw Malinowski suggested that people are more likely to turn to rituals when they face situations where the outcome is important or beyond their control. These situations can include situations where we don't feel so safe or secure. He theorized that when we're overwhelmed by hardship, rituals can help us create a positive state of mind. I've certainly found this to be true in my life, although I didn't realize it at first. In fact, my experience of my happiness practice occurred almost by accident. Well, that's the first few paragraphs of my book. What do you think? You can see it's much about my family and my journey and what I've been through. Would you like to hear some more? I'd love to read a little bit more. Daily Rituals for Happiness is a user-friendly guidebook that teaches you step-by-step techniques for experiencing happiness every day. It focuses on rituals, the key to happiness, and details the significance of these simple yet powerful practices and explores how they help instill a sense of self through reinforcing values, affirming connection to the community, and supporting well-being. The book is full of insightful exercises and jam-packed with user-friendly rituals. It's a workbook. So although I talk about my own story and what I've been through, I relate consistently through the whole book to you. Who are you? What do you want to achieve? How do you feel? Where are you at now? Are you journaling? The book is full of step-by-step exercises to help you. It's all about you. It is available now on pre-order on Kindle. It will be available in days to come in paperback and hard copy and on other different places like Kobo and iBooks. So what did you think? Did you enjoy it? I would love to hear from you, and thank you for taking the time.